Charlie.
Yeah, it's me. How you feeling, kid?
Okay, how are you?
Ah, I come to say goodbye.
Where are you going?
Just on a little trip. Listen, Squeaker, I want you to do something for me, all right?
Uh-huh.
I want you to take care of Itchy. You know, just while I'm gone. You got a home now, and he doesn't have anybody.
Don't worry, Charlie, I will.
Great. Well, goodbye, buddy.
Oh, Charlie, I'll miss you.
Yeah, I miss you too, Squeaker. Now, you go to sleep.
Charlie, will I ever see you again?
Sure. Sure you will, kid. You know, goodbyes aren't forever.
Then, goodbye, Charlie. I love you.
Yeah. I love you too.
Noelle, Dad will never forget about you. I love you, lady. I will miss you every day for the rest of my life. A couple days ago, on Friday, April the 4th, I had to say goodbye to my best friend. She was the best cat in the whole world. The bond we shared was special, and it was perfect. She loved when I would hold the refrigerator open for her to gaze into, sniffing and inspecting as many things as she could. I had to stop her from climbing up onto the various shelves. Every time I would go use the restroom, she would slowly follow me into the bathroom, rub herself up against my leg, and ask for pets. She wanted belly rubs. My girl loved belly rubs. I've never known a cat who loved them more. I could pet and rub her belly for hours. We both loved it. My baby loved chicken delectable squeeze-ups, the little, squeezable cat treats. She loved the purple bag of sensitive tummy turkey dry food. She loved her crunchy treats, her crunchies. California Crunch for a California lady. She was lazy like her dad, and she didn't have much interest in play. She just wanted pets, cuddles, and treats. I loved kissing her on her little fur ball head. When I was busy watching a movie or trying to sleep in bed, she would walk up to me to the right side of the bed, look up at me, and meow. She would paw at me to get my attention. This annoyed me, but it was an annoyance that I loved. It was never a burden to take care of her. She took care of me, and I could never repay her kindness. Noelle, I will always love you, and I can't wait to see you again someday.
I met Noelle at the lowest part of my life, and she was one of two cats that we had for the longest time. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to keep going when we lose our friends.
There's a billion things you could say, folks, about loss. And I would just say, if you're listening to this and you're like, this is over a cat, I feel sorry for you that you've never had a relationship this close with someone that small. But yeah, welcome to the podcast, folks. This is Dan, and we are here at the Dan and Adam Are Afraid podcast. It is Sunday, April 6th, 2025. Yes, folks, we're in 2025. Obviously, I've had a fucked up week, so it's not necessarily beautiful. I don't feel at home in this world anymore. So, Adam, I'm joined by you, my wonderful co-host who's been here for me during this period of time.
Hello, everybody. I'm here to chew bubblegum and grieve, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Oh, did you see that this week? John Carpenter got his Walk of Fame star.
Finally. I mean, this guy's been pumping out hits. I remember seeing Halloween when I was a little kid, and I was just like, oh, this movie's so scary, and that score is memorable. I saw pictures of Kurt Russell there. I'm sure he was very happy. He seems like a very cool guy.
I love Kurt Russell.
Busted the fuck out of a antique guitar on the set of what was that? The Hateful Eight. I love that shit.
Yeah, I got to rewatch the Hateful Eight. Like, well, I guess at one point we'll do Tarantino. He did he's already done 10 movies. He did like 4 hotel rooms or whatever. Oh, 4 rooms.
I haven't seen that.
He did 2 Kill Bills. This guy's a fraud.
He's like, well, actually, see, the thing is, Kill Bill was just one movie, even though it was in 2 parts. It was thought of as one movie. And that's interesting. I'm Tarantino, and I talk like a pedophile, but I swear I'm not.
He's like, my mom dated some black guys, and they took me to a blaxploitation theater, and that's why I am the way I am.
I like a little cross podcast promotion. His episode on the Joe Rogan Experience is the only episode I've listened to in the past however many years that I was like, this is fine.
We love his movies, folks. I won't comment on Quentin Tarantino, the person. Come on the podcast, Quentin.
Defend yourself.
Introduce yourself to me. Yeah, so it's Sunday. I'm looking forward to a beautiful day. I have a need to do work and stuff, so hopefully this podcast will just be shooting up now. Now we'll be on time, on schedule, all the time.
On time.
How was your week, Adam?
I was going to say on time and on budget. As a music business major, we can call myself that. That's a word you got to know. What were you gonna? How was my week? How was my weekend?
How was your week? What'd you do before I introduced you to the pure chaos of my week?
Oh, it was work is always a joy for me. I derive so much joy. You could say that's the only joy I get out of from the majority of my days is driving to work, sitting in a warehouse. Being around all my wonderful coworkers. You guys are the light of my life.
All right, let's get to the movie. What did we watch this week, Adam?
We watched 2001's Human Nature.
My story begins when I was 12. Something terrible happened that year.
It's hormonal. It could get worse with time.
By the time I was 20, I looked like an 8.
My brother knows this guy might be right up your alley.
Tell me, I could use someone up my alley.
I hope you don't think me daft. I'm teaching mice table manners.
The guy's a 35-year-old virgin. Plus, he has an extremely small...
Ergo, if I can teach table manners to mice, then I can teach them to humans. The ape is our closest biological relative. A single chromosome separates us.
Did you see that?
Do you know what truly separates us? Civilization. Good morning, Puff. We're your mommy and daddy while you're here.
You taking that poor uncivilized creature and turning him into a human being?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Bravo.
You'd be taking away his freedom.
Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose, love.
I got a crow. I got a crow. Remember, when in doubt, don't ever do what you really want to do.
It's such a treat to be out and about.
How is everything?
Fantastico.
I'm glad you like it. Chef will be very...
No!
So would that be all?
No.
This spring,
To be taken from the depths of depravity and ignorance
Fine Line Features presents
and raised to the heights of culture.
Tim Robbins,
We're all going to be rich and famous.
Patricia Arquette,
I'm going to make you free again.
Rhys Ifans,
Use the vernacular. I wanted me some of that.
Miranda Otto,
I love my doggy very much, monsieur.
and Rosie Perez.
What is that, something sexual?
Nature is a funny and complex thing.
You know.
Human Nature.
Excellent work, Puff. Yahoo!
In 2001, a movie was released called Human Nature. And now, if I were just to read off what others have said about it, you know, it's a comedy drama written by Charlie Kaufman, directed by Michel Gondry. And this is actually his directorial debut. I didn't know that when I picked it. So that was really cool when I saw the Discord post about it. And the film stars Tim Robbins, Patricia Arquette, Rhys... Oh man, I'm going to fuck his name. Rhys Ifans. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Miranda Otto and Rosie Perez, which you would have just heard that wonderful trailer, very classic trailer that actually works very well on our show because there's narration throughout. And it's a story about primarily about three people, and it's a writer with hypertrichosis, a man who was raised as a chimpanzee away from society, and a psychologist who attempts to socialize the chimpanzee man into a civilized member of society and tame his more bestial instincts. For some reason, they felt the need to just write up on top, and it was a box office bomb with a lot of negative reviews.
That's right, Adam. It was screened out of competition at the 54th Cannes International Film Festival.
Now, what does that mean? Screened out of competition? Does that mean it lost?
Probably. I think it lost. Let me see. I always go to the. I always do this. I've never not done this in an episode. So this was Cannes Film Festival is screened May 18, 2001 in France. It did not get distribution to the United States at Sundance until 2002 in January. And it got a limited theatrical release in April of 2002. So there you go. There you go, folks.
Are you telling me that... hold up. I'm hearing this for the first time. Are you telling me that Shrek was also there when this was released in Cannes?
Dude, we really should start doing that. Like looking at what's, what came out in theaters. That's a really good idea. Noted, folks.
I'm full of it, actually. An idea is a work of art, and in my head, there are multitudes. You could say I'm the Harmony Korine of ideas.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Rhys Ifans. Obviously, we know Tim Robbins. We know Patricia Arquette. We've covered a Patricia Arquette movie. We haven't covered a Tim Robbins movie. To be honest with you, this is probably the first Tim Robbins movie I've ever seen.
Oh, okay.
Somehow.
Yeah, I love Tim Robbins, man. He seems to be down for anything as far as movies go. He was in Howard the Duck.
Oh,
he
yeah.
just plays a complete idiot.
I mean, it's crazy he's in this one. That's for sure. I'm trying to see where Rhys Ifans is from. So he was in Harry Potter.
He was in Notting Hill. He's like the Hugh Grant's flatmate. He was in House of the Dragon. He plays Otto Hightower, the hand of the king who usurps the throne.
He was in Spider-Man? Oh, so he's Kurt Connors, the lizard. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I wanted to think he was like in like Chappie and like whatever other movie with Matt Damon. But it's not him. So he was in Venom the Last Dance as Martin Moon. Now, Venom the Last Dance, awful movie. I've enjoyed the first two Venom movies. Third one, absolute garbage.
Venom.
It's Rhys Ifans for you.
Of course,
he was really good in this movie. When I think about this movie, I'm going to think about Rhys Ifans.
Yeah. It's going to be hard not to think about naked Patricia Arquette again on this podcast. She can't keep her clothes on when she comes on this podcast.
I do think at least there's some prosthetic use in this, so she wasn't necessarily naked.
Yeah, I thought it was really, actually as a little behind the scenes here, behind the scenes production notes, when she was running around the forest naked, they did not properly clear out the area they were filming, and nature enjoyers were out hiking, and then at one point she ran past a bunch of them and we were like, oh my God, it's Patricia Arquette. She's naked.
She's naked again.
It seems like she has, and also she would be remember, I don't know if people recall this, but on Lost Highway, when she would be, doing her naked scenes, she was very much so, you get the fuck off set. I don't know.
She was
I'd be curious to hear.
She's like, if you're not off this set, I'm going to punch you as hard as I can.
I wonder if, what she would have to say about, some of these wanting to get intimacy, the intimacy coaches. And there's a lot of uproar by some actors who are like, that shit's gay. Get him out of here. I'm Uma Thurman, or no, who was it? Some actress had a sex scene with a younger man, and she told the intimacy director to get lost, and rightfully people were like, that'd be kind of fucked. People would probably crucify a Mel Gibson saying that, and he's on set with, I don't know, was it Hillary Duff? I don't know, because she's 40.
Yeah, Hillary Duff is in this movie. That shocked me. I was like, oh, it's Lizzie McGuire. I didn't realize it until she started talking. I was like, it's transported back to 2001.
So at least when this movie was released, 2000, it was prior to the, this was a 9/11-less world.
That's true. I wanted to put a fine line under this. This was distributed by Fine Line Features. This was a specialty films division of New Line Cinema. And I just remember because under the thing, it'd be a Time Warner AOL company.
Yeah.
Just speaks to the time period it came out in. Let's get the elephant out of let's talk about the elephant in the room, Adam. Do you want to do that? Do you want to talk about the elephant?
Yeah.
No one talks about this movie. I had never heard about this movie until you brought it up. I think people discover this movie on Wikipedia when they're going through Charlie Kaufman's filmography. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was certain our next film was going to be adaptation, and then I looked it up and I was like, "Oh no, it will not be." You don't. I hate that it's not mentioned. It's crazy that it's not mentioned. This film was wild. It was insane. It was fun. I was very pleasantly surprised by this movie.
Yeah, I'd echo that sentiment. When I went to go log it on Letterboxd, spoilers, folks, I put a heart on it. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I will say, it's of its time. There are several scenes of, I wouldn't even say harassment. There's scenes of basically assault that are played off like a joke. So if you can roll with that, you'll probably enjoy it. Can you imagine someone who's been a victim of sexual assault watching this movie?
No. I'm curious. Yeah, I'd be curious to hear, I don't know, from a good faith reading of it.
It's just of its time. You can say what you want. You can be like, well, it's offensive. It's right, up to each individual person, I guess.
This podcast is definitely about honesty and openness. Dan, I must be a bit. Where was the sexual assault in this movie?
Well, it's just the scenes where he's he can't control himself, and so he's humping people. He bends the one lady down at the restaurant.
Yeah. Okay.
Against her will.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then they played off as a joke, and I was kind of shocked by it.
Yeah, it is I guess when I saw it, I was like, well, that makes sense. He's like an animal. He can't control his hump. But I guess, he's not. He's a man.
I get it. We grew up in a time period of Encino Man, You know what I mean? Different time. One thing that struck me in this movie, I'll say up front. I love saying up front, by the way. You're going to hear me say that 1 billion times on this podcast. It's one of my tics, okay? Up front.
Even
up top.
Even when we're at the end. It's still
up
up
top,
front.
guys. Yeah, exactly. I think it's interesting how they define the difference between ape and human. Because as you know, Adam, humans are apes. One of my ex-girlfriends hated when I said that. She'd always be like, we're not apes. You can't stop saying that.
Ape. Yeah, that's a. They even go into a point to be like, yeah, and they're talking about pygmy chimps, which, as we know now, those are called bonobos.
Oh, really? Okay.
And tilting the bead can a bit, but yeah, it's like the whole. I don't know. That's kind of like a framing for the movie. It's that they are. What do you call it? They're only a few DNA changes from being us or us being them. We should all be hanging out together. Can you imagine that society where like there's no car? Well, one, you would have no cars, and like apes and humans are just like existing in the same. Well, I said apes and humans again, guys. Look, I'm part of the problem.
It'd be interesting. It'd be a much different world. We'd be bartering with like food and stuff and items. Like I got this really cool stick I found. You wouldn't have computers. You could they can't use computers. Do you think we'd help them out even though they can't use computers?
This guy can't even play Minesweep. I bet you we could teach them how to do some things on a computer, though. Like at least, like we could put them to work. Imagine that we could put these fucking chimps to work, and they can help. They can help pay taxes, and we could put them on trial for crimes against their workplace.
Well, that's not what happens in this movie. What happens in this movie, Adam?
I love the opening of this movie because it immediately gives us a framing device. And it's a little bit, I don't know, it's probably considered traditional to have a character like be on trial and then he starts talking and you start cutting back to what's going on. But this one has three different people who are, we have our three main characters. One of them, Puff, as the chimp man is later named. He's clearly speaking in front of Congress. You got the array of microphones. You got the old men sitting up on the little raised platform. We have our main woman, Patricia Arquette, who is Lila, and she is being arrested. And then we have Tim Robbins, a ghostly Tim Robbins. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, Tim Robinson? He should have been in this. He should be in the remake.
My friend did that yesterday. I was like, yeah, I watched Tim Robbins is in it. And he was like, Tim Robbins? He has a movie coming out. I was like, no, Tim Robbins. The guy from the prison movie.
Yeah. Range. Yeah, I think it was probably like a little after that movie. But yeah, and he's ostensibly, he's clearly dead. Spoiler alert. Right, but the movie spoils it because he's all ghostly white and he has what seems to be a bullet wound in his forehead, and they're all like giving an account of all this crazy shit that's happened, and
he's waiting on George Burns to come in.
Yeah, George Burns is gonna show up and be like, yeah, you know what, you had too much sex with the French lady.
His eyes are going to glow red. He's going to light up a cigar. He's going to be like, I love scared people. Yeah, so he's dead. And that's, I guess you'd say that, about the movie, that it's framed interestingly. It's not necessarily a linear story because the framing device is, you have him telling his story from quote unquote heaven. It's a white room. Again, looks like Bruce Almighty or something. And then you're cutting back and forth. At the beginning, we have the story of Lila, which I thought was that's like maybe my favorite aspect of this movie that I pulled, some meaning from, is Lila's character growing up and having a hormone imbalance. And she just has this hairy chest. She goes and gets checked out and they're like, yep, it just happens. And so she's just covered in hair. And she becomes a writer. Yeah, so what is that called again? Hypertrichosis. Yeah, and it's a real thing. You get a hirsute
woman, their body hair becomes, I mean, it's a hormonal imbalance. Their body hair, it's like they look like it's like me or you, and they got to shave their legs. They got to do a lot extra wet, And so part of her, she's like, of like dealing with this is that she becomes like a freak show. Like we were entreated to her, like she's like climbing, we see Patricia Arquette there on a stage, presumably at a circus, and she's like on a fucking mock skyscraper. You got little Peter Dinklage like flying a plane around her, and she's just like, rah, rah.
Oh, I forgot about that already. Yeah. And then she's like, I can't do this. She settles. She's a wild woman. She wants to. I didn't. Does it say here? Lila decides to leave society and live within nature, where she feels free to exist comfortably in her natural state. So just right there, she feels rejected by society, right? So she's like, and it's not even that she's like, I'm trans or anything. It's just she's like, I got a lot of body hair.
Yeah.
I read a tweet from someone yesterday. It was like an artist that was big in the Warped Tour scene. Kind of, not Warped Tour, but like, MySpace scene, bedroom pop stuff. He's posting about, he's like, in my early 20s, I had a hormonal imbalance from my diet. So it's interesting this movie had that come up after I'd read about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, some things that I've read, it's like hormones have so much to do with our ailments and our feelings. And, if we knew more about how to treat that, like there's a good chance a lot of us would just feel happier. Or just at least feel more at home in our bodies. So I think that's being like a, 2001 as a subject of the movie. Like, yeah, it's definitely something I could see. Yeah, I definitely see people hating on this film when it came out. I mean, like, well, this don't make no sense. She's just hairy. And it's like, man. But she becomes like a writer and literally has a book called Fuck Society, right? Or Fuck Humanity.
Yeah, she has two books. The second one's called Fuck Society. And all these old ladies are just loving it, reading at the hair salon.
Oh, I love that. See, they all stand up at once, like in like a militaristic fashion of like, yes, this is what we're talking about.
Then at age 30, strong sexual desire causes her to return to civilization, have her hair removed in order to find a partner. There's a weird scene in there too where I think her dog is like licking her private regions. I was like, is that what happened?
Yeah, like because she's like in her dream, there's a man going down on her. And she comes to and it's the dog. Yeah, that was tight. What did you think about? What did you think about the musical episode or the little musical bit?
I was scared when that happened. I was like, "Oh no, is this a musical?"
Yeah. Like it would be crazy that like even in the 2000s they weren't advertising musicals as musicals, but no, this is just a brief. I don't know. Yeah, It was fine for what it was. I'm fine. I'm glad there was just a one little sequence because if this turned into a musical, I don't know. It would have been like back when I turned 30 and you made me watch Tick Tick Boom or something. 30-90. I wanted to do our episode. God, I wish I would have planned it. I wanted our episode for that to be a musical. Like that would have been great. But unfortunately, folks, I'm not confident enough to do something like that.
Musical. And her friend, Rosie Perez, is like doing some hydro something on her. She's removing her hair with like lasers and stuff. One by one, she has to take like hairs off. And she does the sessions. Oh, you go ahead. Sorry. You go ahead.
Well, and I remember like laser hair removal, like maybe in the late 90s. I just remember that being such a thing. Like I think people in my family have like I've known people who got laser hair removal, and I don't know. I just know that one note about it. If you don't, you have to do like 5 sessions of it or something like that. Like you have to start and then you have to do like regular, like it's like a medical procedure essentially. I mean, you're fucking like destroying hair follicles essentially. And yeah, like Rosie Perez. I love that scene because she's like describing, you know, Rosie is like talking about how like she's like, I don't even care how a man looks. A man has to, you know, I care about his intellect. I care about his personality. And then of course, and then like Lila's like, well, I know a man. He's very smart. He's a doctor. He's a midget though. And then Rosie Perez like, I want to date no midget.
I ain't dating no fucking midget. Yeah, that's. I mean, there's a lot. This feels like a Charlie Kaufman movie. It has that going for it.
Yeah. Because like part of me was like, oh no, like I don't know. Like even though I love Eternal Sunshine, I'm still just like, oh man, but this is the first time. Are they going to be able to mesh together? And I mean, I think they did perfectly. Like I want to see more. I want to see Michel Gondry and Charlie Kaufman come back again and again. But maybe they don't want to tread what they consider to be old and outdated paths for each other. So
I'm curious what Michel Gondry did after this. We'll take a peek later. So Rosie Perez is like, yo, I got this guy. He's perfect. He's got a tiny penis. Tiniest penis. And he's going to be really happy if you show him some attention. He's really smart and, you know, he loves nature and animals. It's like, they must love dogs. And so she goes,
love dogs.
And you get introduced to him. And let's talk about, what even is his name? Nathan Bronfman.
Yeah, there you go.
Bronfman.
Yeah, he's a psychologist researching the possibility of teaching table manners to mice.
Yeah, it's some hipster bullshit that you hear in the 2000s.
Yeah. Well, and like we even get like a little scene of like him as a child. It's probably like one of the like most heartbreaking scenes in this movie where he's, you know, he uses the wrong fork. And let's also note that his father is played by Nathan Forrester,
Robert
Sheriff
Forrester.
Truman. Oh God, I said Sheriff. What did I say?
You said like Nathan Forrester.
Oh God, Nathan Bedford Forrest. That's what I was. Love that guy.
Bobby Forrester. He's great, dude. He's amazing. You see
season 3 of Twin Peaks. He was in Heroes. He played like the big bad in a couple of their seasons.
Oh, really?
Love that guy. He's
he's great. And dude. R.I.P. He was in everything in 2001.
Yeah,
he's also in Mulholland Drive and stuff.
And we're gonna do the rest of the movie
and
in his voice. May the road rise up to meet your wheels. A little Easter egg for everybody there.
Yeah, but his dad's like a. It's an interesting. I don't know how to describe that dynamic, but yeah, the scene is they're at a dinner table. It's his childhood, and his mom's like, "You picked up the wrong fork, you little shit."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," but then they're like, "That's not good enough. You now got to go to your room."
Yeah, but the way they do it is like, she's upset. The dad's like, "Oh yeah, you got to do the right thing," and then the wife's like, "No, you got to tell him." And he's like, "You got to go upstairs now. It's over. It's too late." And then he goes upstairs, and that was like the soul crushing part of it. Is just like his dad doesn't stick up for him at all.
Yeah, his dad clearly doesn't, like, he's not as invested as the mother, but he's still just like, you know, you got to do what your mother says. And yeah, I feel like Kaufman's kind of commenting there on, you know, certain dynamics you see in families and relationships where one person can be very cruel and the other person may not be cruel, but they're not willing to stand up to it. So they're just like, they're letting it happen.
We see this mirrored like later.
Yeah.
So they start dating, right?
Yeah. They go on a date together, and he loves animals. God damn, I just want to point out every scene I liked in this movie, like every shot where she like looks down at he's putting his napkin, like they're sitting down and he's put his napkin and she just looks down at his crotch, like, because he has a tiny penis. Like,
yeah, I'm surprised that it didn't get brought up more in this movie with the amount of times he's banging. I'm like, they just use hear him banging, getting it in there, and then you're just picturing this tiny penis, this micro penis.
I read I read this off at work. I was like, you guys got to get on Reddit, because this is like, this guy was talking about his tiny penis, and he was just like, saying how he's like, I want to kill myself. This is useless. And I'm like, damn, there are countless people out there who find a tiny little penis. I mean, it's just adorable. I want to. Who can even? Now I'm just like, it sounds like I have a tiny penis, which I might, because I'm like, who wants a big penis? That sounds like a lot of work.
Who wants a big one?
Yeah. So yeah, they're dating, and at one point they go on a little nature walk, which Tim Robbins does not like. He is like, oh God, like you could tell he does not want to be out in nature. Maybe later on
we were skipping something too that I think is important. Before we get to this, they're at the dinner table, and again, it's because that scene resonated with me. They're at the dinner table on their date, and she goes and picks up the wrong fork to eat her salad, and he's like, no, it's usually the outside fork. And it's like a big deal. Like, he's nicer than his mom is, obviously, but it's clearly affected him, and in a lot of ways he's mirroring his mom's behavior.
Yeah. Okay,
all right,
good.
And then they go on a walk.
Yeah, and like even his mother at some point, like they're talking about nature, and like his mom's like, yes, I love it too, as long as it stays where it belongs, in the zoo. So there's clearly like I don't know, it's like a wild disparity between these two people. She is a former living out in the woods wild woman, and he's just like, he loves society, he loves high society. But yeah, there they are.
It's about civilization versus non-civilization, basically. And his mom, I don't know, she's kind of the bad person, right? She represents aristocracy. She represents colonization, right?
Yeah, yeah. The dominion over nature as opposed to harmony with nature.
Like, she's zoo. What is a zoo? It's a prison for animals. Like, this today in days and age, you can add some nuance to it, because like the world's such a fucking cesspit and hellhole that it's like they're gonna die if we don't put them in a fucking cage. They're prisons, and she's like, they belong in a prison. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's like the whole manifest destiny thing of humanity, where it's like, well, we're redeeming nature. Nature is wild and it's evil.
Oh, and he tries to redeem nature. It. That's a whole plot of this movie. Yep. And we run into our ape man in the woods.
Yeah, run into they're just out there, and she's like, wait, there's something in the wood, something in the bushes, and Tim Robbins is of course like, well, then maybe we should turn around. She's like, well, I think it's a man, and of course, like, well, if it's a man, then we really don't need to bother him. People that come out into the woods that live like this, they're not well. They don't want to be. They don't want to be looked at. They don't want to be interacted with. And she just immediately starts taking her clothes off.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, would that be your first reaction if you see a strange naked man in the woods? Or are you just going to rip your clothes? Like, Brittany's going to be like, stop. Oh, we should call the cops or something. And then you're going to just be ripping your clothes off, running like, oh, no. Is that your first reaction?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely want to have the speed and maneuverability that only nudity can offer. And I love watching him. He's like swinging from the trees. Like, he climbs up a tree, just starts fucking. He's like pro swinging from these trees. And if you've ever seen, nature footage of chimps and other apes out there, like, it's just so, I love watching, especially an orangutan, like fucking just like swinging from branch to branch. Like, it's insane how that looks, though, to see a human doing it. It's like, wow, that's really fun. But she kind of corners him on a branch at some point, and probably the first bit of like sexual deviancy jokes in this movie is that he just is like looking at her, and he's like, oh, and he just starts beating his meat right there on the tree, which causes them to fall.
I like
And that's
that
how we
fall
get,
scene. I like the way they filmed the fall. It was fun. It was kinetic.
Yeah. That's a good word. A lot of kinetic shots.
So they, they kidnap him. They kidnap this dude and just put him in a fucking cage.
Yeah, that was insane. Like, it's even crazier that she's like going along with this, but I guess, she loves him. Like she really wants to work this out, make things work with Tim Robbins.
She wants to be accepted and she'll do anything for that. We'll be watching a movie in the future by Yorgos Lanthimos called Kinds of Kindness. And that's the theme of that movie. That's very interesting. Look forward to it.
And this is when we're also introduced to Miranda Otto.
I love Miranda Otto.
She is the assistant to Nathan Branford. Bronfman. Guys, fucking, what is up with this name? Charlie Kaufman, you could tell, like, he just has, like, kind of I think he has kind of a TV writer's mind in a lot of ways, because his idea of jokes are just to do bit after bit after bit. And, like, that name is a bit because it's hard to say. Like, did you notice that, like, immediately, there's no way you couldn't notice. Immediately we see that, Miranda Otto's character, what the fuck is her name? Gabrielle. She has a bad French accent. Immediately, I was like, "Oh, that accent is horrible." I was like, criticized, like, "Oh, that's kind of bad." Like,
I did not question it, and it took me by surprise later when we find out it's a fake accent. That's how I think French people talk. If you're French, you're listening to this. That's how I think you exist. That's how I think you guys are.
Yeah, we just assume that you guys sound ridiculous. You just sound like Americans doing a weird accent.
Miranda Otto.
Everyone in the world, to me, sounds like a weird American doing a weird accent. Everyone in the world. I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Why are you talking Australian? Speaking of Australian, Miranda Otto is Australian. And she's most well known for her role in Lord of the Rings as Eowyn.
Oh, see, man, I never do real work. And so I was like, I didn't even know that she was, and these are around the same times then, huh? Human Nature came out and then
she did that right after, or during.
The Two Towers came out in 2002. So filming wise, it would have probably some overlap there.
I was just wondering where I'd seen her before, because she seems familiar, but I'm like, she's not the chick from Synecdoche, New York, or Mr. Lonely. Who is she? So yeah, that makes sense. I thought she was really great in this movie. She's really brave.
I want to see you be brave.
Just like Patricia Arquette. Yeah, they're both very brave roles. I can't imagine taking these on as a woman.
Right. Yeah. And so we see her. She's there with Nathan, and they're going to be training Puff. They call him. Yeah, they're going to be training him to be a human, essentially.
They name Puff, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to teach him. You're going to teach you how to be civilized." So you cue the song "Civilization."
And as we see earlier, like, they're electrocuting mice to teach them, table manners. And in the same vein, they have an electric collar around Puff.
So those are CGI mice, right? Is that what's happening?
I think, it's either like a mix of CGI or all CGI. I don't think my wife laughed out loud when the mouse grabbed the fucking fork.
It is impressive looking. Yeah, that's why I ask. I don't know. And you got to imagine this whole time we're cutting back and forth to a future time where this guy's Puff is talking to Congress, and he's got like this thick British accent and is very like proper. So you get the idea like, oh, he's going to really become like a proper person. And he's dating and living with Patricia Arquette's character Lila, and she's just becoming increasingly like erratic about stuff. And she's like, you got to have my baby. And Tim Robbins is just like, he has these nightmares he talks to, because he's a shrink. He goes to throughout this whole movie, a therapist, whatever.
Rosie Perez's brother, actually.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you picked. Yeah, that's or her character's brother.
No, I didn't pick that up at all. But he has this dream where she gives birth to a chimp. You look down at the little baby and he's going, ooh, ooh, ooh.
And I love that, like, Tim Robbins is like talking to he's like, I don't know what this could mean. And the therapist is kind of like, well, I think maybe you're upset about your girlfriend's hairiness. He's like, oh, I thought it was just like the fear of fatherhood. Like, he's always like, he has no self-awareness. He has no self-reflection points for Tim Robbins' character in this movie.
No, and he's, it's an interesting element to there's a lot of interesting little pieces in the writing because it's a Charlie Kaufman movie, but that one in particular is like, it's basically about, it's because Charlie Kaufman's so fucking neurotic that he would be like, oh, my girl's got body hair, it's freaking me the fuck out.
Yeah.
But it is an element of like, there's probably small things in everybody. Like, you're not going to 100% love everything about somebody. But it's an interesting, when you're someone so neurotic, this is just an interesting blown up version of that. And I'm like, that's so insane. It's like, if you have like this isn't in my life or anything, but if you had like a girlfriend who like, I don't know, chewed with her mouth open or something, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that happens in this movie. Like, it might annoy you, but I'd get over it. So I don't know. I'm just not that kind of neurotic, crazy person. It's interesting to see that perspective, though. Like, that would be horrible to like live your life like that.
Which insanely or interestingly enough, that's not the last time Charlie Kaufman will have a character who like gets upset at a woman for talking with their mouth full of food. That happens in Anomalisa.
Yeah, that's true.
So part of me thinks that, I think Charlie Kaufman is aware. He has a problem with it. He's aware of it, but like, or maybe he chews with his mouth open. I don't know. But so we see that when do they start? Because Tim Robbins starts banging his assistant.
It's right away. Like, because she's like, oh, I so horny in French. And then they go there in the middle of the night because he's like freaking the fuck out in his pajamas. And she's there too.
Well, doesn't he catch like he walks in on Patricia Arquette like shaving herself or something?
Yeah, so he meets her at work, right? Or they start really conversing because of the project. They keep shock collaring this guy whenever he does something bad, and that's how they're training him. And she's like in love with him, and she invites him out for, you want to go get a drink or something sometime? And he's like, no, I can't do it. And he goes home. He's just freaking out the whole time. She calls him, and they talk on the phone, all hushed. And Patricia Arquette, Lila's like, who is it? And he's like, it's someone from work. She's like, who is it from work? Just keeps asking. Those are ridiculous.
He's just so mad. Yeah.
And then, he breaks in the door, and she's covered. And you have a scene earlier where they're in bed together, and he wipes like a piece of shaving cream off her. He's like, is that shaving cream? And she's like, no. And the sexual energy immediately ends in the scene. But he walks in on her, and she's completely covered head to toe in like shaving cream because she's shaving herself completely to give the illusion that she's not covered in body hair. She's doing all this for this guy, which is crazy. And he freaks out, and he's like, I gotta leave. And that's when he ends up at the office, and she's there too. She shows us like, I couldn't sleep either. I'm in my pajamas too. And then she's in really sexy clothes, and they bond over the project late at night, and she like lifts her leg up with like the nylon on. And I can relate because like that's a turn on for me, folks. I'm gonna throw it out there. I love just anything you could put on a leg. Perfect. So I get it. I feel him. I would have also, I think
you would have also shoved your head into her crotch.
Great men would have broken in that moment. A lot of great men.
And there's even like, I'm not going to worry too much. We could always go back on things. He like she is talking about, she wants a baby inside of her. Mm-hmm. And when he imagines it with them, they're like on a beach and there's like French music playing and you just have like a regular little baby.
And she's breastfeeding. Yep. Traditional feminine thing.
Eventually, though, like, yeah, she's like, no, he's like, I can't do that to Lila. Like, I can't break her heart just to be with you.
Well, this is ridiculous. It's like Sophie's Choice. You ever seen Sophie's Choice? It's like Sophie's Choice, but it's Nathan's choice.
It's Nathan's choice. Yeah. So like they break up, and we start seeing like, yeah, his relationship with Lila is falling apart because he's like, and she's like, yeah, it feels like when we have sex, like it's different. Like it's like you're thinking about something else. We also start seeing how fucking Puff is having difficulty controlling his sexual urges. Like up top, we mentioned it, how, they're out at a restaurant and he just like can't help it and starts humping the waitress, and they shock him. And of course he's like, terribly sorry about that.
It shouldn't happen again.
It shouldn't happen again. God, I love Reese, man. He's so fucking funny. Yeah. And then Puff gets taken on like a scientific tour. Like they tour a bunch of lecture halls, and I feel like maybe I'm like, because he gets back together with Gabrielle, or no, do they break up? Fuck.
Well, yeah, they break up because she's like, you broke my heart. And then he goes home and he's like, my assistant quit today. It was really important to the project. And then later, he goes to her later in the story because he's like, I can't stop thinking about you. And that's when they get back together later on. I don't know. We also didn't mention, like, throughout the courtship initially with him and Gabrielle, like, Gabrielle's like fucking putting like she. Oh, I guess not. No, that's later too. Okay, there's no sexual energy between her and Puff until later. Never mind. Keep going.
Yeah, it's not. Well, no, yeah, like we might be messing up the timeline, but we'll make it very clear. Because at some point, Tim Robbins goes to see. Yeah, it's when he gets back to. Okay, so I kind of know where we're at. Tim Robbins decides he wants to go back and see Gabrielle. And that's when we get the scene where she is in her, this French woman, we now see her, she is in a dirty ass small apartment. She's got like sweatpants on and she's just talking on the phone with a flat American accent. Mm-hmm. And he shows up and then she's like, oh, fuck, I got to French this shit up. But she's like, I just want to talk to you.
Yeah, that's like a funny scene in the movie where like all of a sudden her apartment's like a French apartment. She's got a little Eiffel Tower on her like coffee table. Tim Robbins is like, he had told her that like, yeah, I'm going to go check on Puff. I told Lila that, but actually he's coming over. He's getting a piece of that straight. He's getting a piece of that side piece, that mistress piece. We'll mention like Puff. They finally trained him to be a good human. He overcomes his urges. There's this funny scene where they like have, like a slideshow of a woman undressing and he's just losing his mind until they keep shocking him until he can't. And he's like, you're good now. And they give him like a little apartment in the glass case, nice little cozy apartment. Yeah. He's like, you're free to come and go as you please. And, he just starts unraveling. He's constantly drinking, going to like strip clubs, banging sex workers. And yeah, so our main character, Nathan, comes back from having sex with his mistress that he just got back together with. And he's like, I got home. I was out with Puff, and Puff was like, he's really well read for only being literate a month. We're going to make so much money off of him. We're going to be so famous. And she's like, oh, really? Patricia Arquette Lilac is like, oh, really? Because I just picked him up at a flop house on the east side. And whatever.
So what were you really doing?
Where were you really? He's like, I've fallen in love with somebody else. I'm in love with somebody else. He's just very direct.
Yeah. And then he's like, he's like, and I went and saw her. And what did you do with her? And he's like, I fucked her. I just feel like that right there. I fucked her. It's a very, I don't know, just feels very Kaufman to have a character be like, I fucked her. He keeps it direct. Later on in Eternal Sunshine, like when I forget the actress's name, but she's like, I know what you're wondering. Did I go out and fuck somebody? And Jim Carrey's like, of course I know you fucked somebody. Like I just love that about Kaufman. Like it's such a 90s vibe of being like, I fucked them. Because nobody, like, that's how people talk, but people are afraid to like, I don't know, people don't want to be direct like that.
Yeah. It's good. I like it. And she leaves him. Patricia Arquette's like, I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge. I did all this for you. And she eventually decides to take him back, right? She's like, I'm going to take Puff back to the forest and undo his manners training. You have the John Malkovich scene, you know, like the Post thing where you have Nathan, who's like this renowned scientist. He's like going to all these conferences with Puff. He's like, he's perfect. And you have his assistant, which is his wife. So it's kind of like being John Malkovich, that kind of vibe. And then you start getting the weird sexual stuff between Puff and Gabrielle, which I was just like, oh my God. That's when they get robbed, right? At gunpoint, you have, well, it doesn't happen. Like you have surprisingly Peter Dinklage show up. Old friend of Lila. So this is the guy she was talking about earlier that she tried to set Rosie Perez up with.
Love seeing the Dinklage like coming in, talking. I was like, man, you forget how, I don't know, he's a little like, I know a lot of people hate on him now because they're like, he ruined acting for little people. And I'm like, yeah, but so would I. If I wanted to be the only one cast, I'd be like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, but I'll take the role. And there's a beautiful scene of him being like, like Puff is like, is that a child? And like, and then there's like some offensive, like, well, he's a dwarf, but I prefer they think they be called little people.
Is that right? And he's like, I don't even know what he said. He's like, I'm here to kill you and rob you.
Well, he's like, I prefer to be called doctor, actually. Like,
oh yeah, he's like,
he
called doctor, whatever.
Whips out a gun. He whips out Chekhov's gun and points it at everybody. And then we have Lila come back in, and we earlier we see that she finally finishes her electrolysis, hair removal, and so now she has
sexy.
no hair.
She's sexy, and Nathan wants her back.
She's got muscles now. Men are always giving her compliments on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Do you want to touch me now, Nathan?" And he's like, "Yes." Like Nathan is just horned up constantly throughout this movie.
Yeah, he's not a guy to respect.
And yeah, like you said, they take Puff back. Also, we find out that Rosie Perez does end up with Dinklage. A beautiful little make out. She just comes in hardcore, kisses him and they make out right in front of everyone with a gun pointed.
Well, it's like another fucking Charlie Kaufman thing because they're like all three together, aren't they? They're like all making out.
Yeah, you kind of get the vibe that maybe they're all in a throuple. Yeah, like she takes Puff out into nature and at gunpoint makes him take all of his clothes off. She's taking her clothes off. He's not allowed to talk. Like he tries to talk, and even when they're making love later, he says something like, he's like, "You're so beautiful." And she like shocks him.
Yeah.
Because like they need to revert. They need to de-evolve to be in harmony with nature once again. And it works. Like they are just out in nature and happy. Right? And that's the end of the movie?
Yeah, no, Nathan comes stumbling back in. He's like, I gotta be with you guys. I could be ape too. He starts taking his clothes off. He's like, hoo, hoo, ha, 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 hoo, hoo. And that's when Puff like pulls a gun on him. I don't know how he gets the gun.
Well, Nathan had the gun. It's a German Luger, which I felt is just very funny. Like, it's just funny to see someone in 2001, they have a World War II fucking weapon. That's when, like, I don't have it written down, but Puff is like, "Can I use words?" And he gives like just a very long, like, Kaufman. He's got to have his monologues towards the end of his movies, and like, yeah, Puff gives like a monologue about what it means, and then bam, he just shoots, Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins gets shot in the head.
I'm gonna kill you, and he's like, "No, you aren't." He's like, "Yes, I am." Kills him. He falls down dead, and that's why he has the gunshot in his head, and he's in heaven or hell.
Unceremonious. It's not like an off-screen death, but you don't see him get shot. He just he got shot because he said he's going to shoot him, and that kind of gives us a little bit of context for what happened at the beginning, because we're like, why is Patricia Arquette being arrested? And she's like, I am going to take the blame for this. Like, you need to be free. And then, like, yeah, we see almost simultaneously her saying to the cops, "I shot Nathan." And then it cuts to Puff in front of Congress and him being like, "And that's when Lila did it."
Yep. And she's like, "You got to live for me." He's like, "I will forever." And yeah, everyone loves it. They're like, "We're going to pass legislation based on this. We love you, man."
Yeah. I'm like, what legislation are they passing? I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
And that to me is just another bit, just another thing to laugh at, because it's like, what the fuck? What do you mean we're gonna pass some laws? Like,
we're gonna pass some laws about civilization.
But he's very, Puff is very happy, and then he goes and he's like walking out. The press is following him, and he just starts taking his clothes off. Very triumphant. Yeah.
One of the posters.
Very triumphant return to nature. And again, yeah, that's it. That's the end of the movie, right?
Yeah. He walks into the woods, and the news crew takes off.
Oh, wait, I see the movie's still going on, and we see a car pull up. We see him, and he kind of runs out like he's holding his crotch, like, oh God, let me get out of here. And it's Gabrielle. She's picking him up because they are now a fucking couple. They kiss.
And they drive off. He's like, I'm fucking starving. I'm cold out here. Fuck. We also missed his mom before he walks into the forest. When the news crew's there, his mom comes out. He's like, "It's me, your mom." He's like, "I'm an ape, Mom. I got to go back into the forest." She's like, "Okay, I love you." And then
she like accepts. He's like, "I figured as much."
Which is a weird addition, but that happens. And then he gets in the car with Gabrielle, and the ending strongly suggests some unexplained collusion between the two, throwing much of the interpretation of what went on before into question.
Yeah, and I want to go back because apparently there are philosophical passages read over the credits that I did not. I'm like an awful person. I don't watch the credits.
Done once this ended.
So I'm just going to go ahead and read off one of them right now, if that's okay with you.
Go ahead.
Intuitive cognition is such that when some things are cognized, of which one inheres in the other, or one is spatially distant from the other, or exists in some relation to the other, immediately in virtue of that non-propositional cognition of those things, it is known if the thing adheres or does not adhere, if it is spatially distant or not. And the same for the other true contingent propositions, unless that cognition is flawed or is there some impediment. Wow. I mean, true words, true today as they were whenever they were written. I'm sorry, folks. That's like, philosophy's fine, but the fact that it also like tries to hide itself, but it's all these like really smart, fancy lads who wrote it. I'm just like, okay, like you watch the movie instead. Like, don't, I don't know. That's just me being a Philistine, and I'm like, I don't got time for no dilly daddling of words.
Yeah, there is a certain level of classism to this stuff. Why not just say things normally? Why would you put it this way?
Yeah, like it was all written by these fucking like little fancy boys.
This is first an excerpt of William of Ockham from Opera Theologica. That's why I like Mark Fisher, because he talks about the same shit, but he like was born in 1980 or 1980 something,
Yeah.
But yeah, check those out, folks. I'm sure they will really put the movie into perspective. I remember at one point, this just reminded me of it, they were talking about, because it's during the end scene with Puff, and he's like, there's a word I meant to look up before I was kidnapped. And he explains it as like disparate parts, not being able to understand that disparate parts are part of the whole or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly. True words, man. True words.
That said, this movie was a box office failure. It was made with a budget of $8.6 million. Quite a bit. And, made a box office of 1.6.
And now that we're past the you plot cells, I hope you're happy. I can't wait till we get to baby invasion and we talk about that plot. But one big criticism I see of this movie and a lot of Kaufman films, even of the last one that we did, being John Malkovich, is that they'll say Charlie Kaufman can't write a third act. That's just, people love to levy that charge against him. And I mean, he's aware of it. We'll see an adaptation that's like part of the point of that movie. And I think really what it is that people misunderstand, what storytelling is. Like, they're like, well, it needs to have a third act. It needs to have a plot. And it's like, well, but stories don't really have to end like stories can just end however they end. And, you as an audience, you're supposed to be left with a feeling that you just had something washed over you. Like, it doesn't matter if, it's not all tidy. It doesn't all make sense, especially this movie, which we didn't even mention it. The opening scene is of the mice and the crow or the raven, whatever it is. There's a gunshot, and you see the crow. It flies into a tree while trying to chase these mice. Well, we see that scene again at the end. It's like very much like a snake eating its own tail type of a movie, because it just, And there's a lot of flashbacks, like when Nathan is a boy and he's looking at the chimps, and his dad's explaining like apes and humans. We see Puff's father in the background being dragged out by the police, which we also see in another scene. And like Kaufman loves, like I love that he loves to, like have movies occur not necessarily in order, and then like reveal things later on where you're like, oh shit, I saw that. And even if you didn't recognize it, it's like your brain will, and you're going to be left in a state of confusion. I don't know. I'm trying to sound too smart. I'm trying to sound like Francis Bacon.
In a 2014 interview, body double actress Laura Grady talked about doubling for Patricia Arquette. I had a part in there where I played one girl who was naked on screen, and then I was also Patricia Arquette's body double. I remember Rhys Ifans being very shy. It's really funny. When you work with another body double, we're laughing about stuff like we're waiting tables. But when you work with the actor, they get so shy. Think because I'm a body double that I do it all the time, that I'm not shy. But of course, I am a little bit. 10 people gave that a thumbs up.
That makes me think of, I don't know if you've seen the movie Love Actually. I think Reese might also be in that. Maybe not though, but it's English. And there's a whole like storyline in that movie where Martin Freeman and another lady, they're body doubles on a movie. And like, it's kind of confusing because they look like they're having sex throughout the entire movie, but they're like just chatting like, oh, how was your day? Oh, did you get that thing done? Oh, okay. How's your kids? I don't know. Made me think of that. I couldn't imagine being a body double like that. That would be, I would be like, damn, I'm a body double and you cast me to be him. He's ugly. Oh no.
Body double.
I don't think Reese had a body double though. I think he was just naked on screen.
That's what it makes it sound like.
Lovely. There's a lot of scenes where you would think you think you're going to get some boobs. I liked how, for a lot of Patricia Arquette's early scenes, like she has hair all over her body. So yeah, she's naked, but it's classy. It's classy.
It's a lot of the nudity is desexualized, which you would not normally see in a movie from this time period, which by itself is interesting.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Many of the scenes in the forest are allusions to or recreations of scenes in the Bjork music video Human Behavior, also directed by Michel Gondry. All right. Let's get down to it, Adam. People make movies to tell a point, to make a theme, to do something. What'd you pull from this movie we watched this week, Adam?
A lot of the things that I think I pulled were definitely like emotional. Like I really felt really sad for Patricia Arquette when Tim Robbins was like, yeah, I fucked her. I'm in love with her. And like, it's just like, yeah, part of human nature is being like, is the betrayal we do to one another. And yeah, I felt like that betrayal was a part of this movie. Even right up into the end when you see that Reese is actually running off with this other woman, even after he looked into the camera and was like, Lila's in jail. And he's like, I love you, Lila. Yeah, I just felt like a lot of comments about human behavior. Obviously, it's called human nature. Like, it had me a lot of times in the movie being like, oh, that sounds like human nature. Like,
I would agree, but I think again, this movie comes from a slanted perspective, right? Like, I wouldn't make a movie about like this with these kind of hang-ups. It's a very neurotic film.
Yeah, neurotic. That's a good word for it.
Because, like, this is very pessimistic, is it not?
Yeah.
Is his comment that just some people are bad and some people are good, or is he? What does he think?
I mean, I almost get the feel, like the vibe that even if you come for like the purity of nature isn't enough. See, now I'm just talking out my ass, but the purity of human nature, like out in the wild, obviously it gets corrupted by civilization to the point where you can't really go back. Like, there's no going back to that. And there's no going back for any of us.
I think it calls into question, what is human nature? Is human nature Nathan's mom saying that the earthly bounty belongs in a cage, ruled by humanity in a white, racist, fascist, upper class, lower class society? Or is human nature to live in the woods and to be kind and to be at one with all of Earth's bounty? I think this movie is pretty negative about that question.
Oh yeah, I mean the most base part of human nature being our sexual urges. That's something that you definitely can't fight. Not really, because you're gonna want it. And as Puff says, I wanted to get me some of that.
Yeah, that was the funniest part of the movie. I wanted me some of that. So I decided I had to play along. That's why he did it. Just to have sex. Which is true. Isn't that what this is all about? I guess not for us artists, but.
Well, yeah, you could say that art, all that stuff is a, it's hard to say. Yeah. Which one is the distraction? Is it sex? Is it art? Is it civilization? Is there such thing as human nature? Yeah. Civilization isn't it just nothing more than a fucking mushroom cloud over your city? Damn. Let's watch Southland Tales again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the way the world ends. Not with a whimper, but with a bang.
Adam, would you recommend 2001's Human Nature?
You know, this film is definitely going to get 2 thumbs up from me and a recommend. I think that if you're a fan of Charlie Kaufman, you're going to feel right at home in this movie. If you're a fan of TV comedy and bits, there's something for you here too, because there's just jokes that don't really go anywhere, but then you find out they're all going in the same place. And I definitely think we're like 24 years away from this movie when it was a box office flop. I think it deserves a renaissance, man. Sucks that it was made by such a big company. I can see. I don't know if they're gonna spend the money on it and roll the dice, but yeah, I think everyone should go out and see it.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is Malcolm X.
Hey there, folks. It's me, Dan. I'm here at the podcast. I want to mention right now, it is episode 45. I should have said that at the beginning of the podcast, but you heard that guy. He couldn't get that out. He didn't know to say it was episode 45. Now, this movie by Michel Gondry and Charlie Kaufman, Human Nature from 2001. Do I recommend this movie? Of course I do. I think it is definitely underrated. I think it's strange I've never heard of it before us picking it to talk about on the show, just because we do these things seemingly chronologically now, at least with these director picks. So that's, I do recommend it. It was not hard to watch. Obviously, I'm going through a hard time. It wasn't necessarily a hard watch. It was funny. It made me laugh. It brought some moments of joy in my lowest low. So for that, I do recommend this movie. I think people should check it out. Obviously, like I said up top back then, your mileage may vary. There's some very dated aspects to this movie, but if you're listening to this podcast and you're like hanging with us, you're probably going to be fine with it. So yeah, check it out. You probably stream it or something. I think Scream Factory put this one out on a Shout Factory Select Blu-ray a few years ago. Check it out. Now, real quick, I do like to do this reading just a couple Letterboxd reviews. Here's one, most popular review from Cinema Void, 2 stars. It says, Charlie Kaufman in 2001, I'm thinking of fucking things.
Nice. That's good.
And here's a 5-star review from George F. Seems completely perfect of a Kaufman script to be filmed in its entirety without making a single note or alteration. Wild ambition and stream of consciousness style included than any of the others. Watching this feels like reading the original draft of Malkovich, and where Jones's film rewrote the unfilmable third act, Gondry and all the actors goes headfirst into the challenge, animal stunts included. Also, it's a musical made by a music video director, complete with a Bjork-shaped heart. I wouldn't call anything in this movie bad, more just offbeat. The wild goofiness in which it's directed pairs so interestingly with the pessimistic outlook and caustic punishment of its characters. What a bizarre combo. Also, inside this all is also a comedy about child abuse. Kaufman wrote some pretty unhinged stuff. Everyone in this movie is very brave. I like the table manners jokes most of all, I think. I do think Malkovich has a better script, and adaptation is better directed overall. But this packs quite a punch. Favorite Kaufman joint. Real quick, I want to mention that. Do you know anything about the third act of the original John Malkovich script?
No. There was a different third act?
Yeah, it was rewritten. So the original ending of Being John Malkovich involved a battle between John Malkovich and a Harry Truman puppet controlled indirectly by the devil in a battle over the fate of the world.
Okay, that would have been amazing.
So yeah, that's what he's referencing there. Yeah, I agree with this guy, obviously. I was reading that and I was just like, God damn. He's like making all the points I made in this podcast.
You heard it here, folks. You could just read that review. You don't even need to listen to this podcast.
Adam, it's my pick. It's my pick this week. You know what we're going to be watching next week?
What do you got for us, Dan? You got a little, what are we watching?
We'll be watching 2019's The Beach Bum, directed by Harmony Korine. It's a stoner comedy film starring Matthew McConaughey, Snoop Dogg, Isla Fisher, and Jimmy Buffett in his final feature film, Zac Efron, Martin Lawrence, Stephanie LaVey, and Jonah Hill in supporting roles. The plot follows the adventures of stoner poet Moondog in and around the Florida Keys as he tries to finish his new novel and fight for the respect of his daughter and share his wife's estate after she dies in a car accident. Spoilers.
All right, yeah, I'm excited.
I've been looking forward to this one. Yep. I think this is going to be your favorite one, Adam.
Hey, I will go ahead and I'm on the Harmony train. I'm living in Harmony.
Oh. Are you talking?
I'm talking.
I just cut you completely on my end, so I have no clue what you said.
Well, we can go.
We're done. We're getting the fuck out of here, folks. It's been a long week. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Whenever you hear this, I guess, wonderful week. Hug your little ones, man. Those 10 years went by so fast for me. And it happened so quick. Take as many pictures as you can. Take as many videos as you can. Back them up. Back that ass up.
Yeah! Woo! Invest in gold bars. Invest in gold. Get as many gold bars as you can, and then bury them under your bathtub. As I'm saying this, forget I'm saying it, but then do it. Build a hidden safe. like contraption under your bathtub. Fill it up with gold bars. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone your secret code or your password. You lock it up. When you take a bath at night, you'll be sitting on a financial safety net. I am talking to you robotic, so then it goes into your mind digital. 010101. I don't know. You'll be sitting on a gold mine.